Hello and welcome to another episode of the Computer Vault podcast, the podcast where we discuss the history of computers, computing, and IT, and where we uncover the amazing stories that shaped our modern digital world. I'm Aidan, and in this episode, we're setting our sights on one of the more intriguing machines of its time, the Amstrad PCW16. We're going to take a look into its development, its technical capabilities, and the lasting impact it had on users and developers alike. So, grab your favourite beverage, settle in, and join me as we relive the story of this classic machine. The Amstrad PCW16 entered the market during a pivotal moment in home computing. Released at a time when computers were evolving from bulky word processors to genuine personal computing devices, the PCW16 was designed to bridge the gap between professional word processing and everyday computing tasks. Amstrad, already revered for its cost-effective and reliable solutions, made a bold move with the PCW16, targeting both small business environments and the home consumer market. Today, we'll explore the machine's journey from its conception through its design and technical innovations, right on through to its eventual discontinuation. But we'll also share some personal anecdotes and interviews reported from former Amstrad engineers and ardent PCW16 users. These recollections highlight not just the technical genius of the PCW16, but also the way it captured the hearts and minds of a generation of computing enthusiasts. Let's begin with what made this machine both innovative and memorable, its technical specifications and hardware details, which set it apart during an era of rapid technological change. The Amstrad PCW16 was engineered with a keen understanding of the needs of its era. At its heart, the system featured a custom-designed processing unit that, while sharing similarities with other contemporary machines, integrated elements specifically tailored for the word processing and light computing tasks expected by its users. Unlike many computers of the time that employed a standard 8-bit microprocessors, the PCW16 boldly incorporated a more advanced 16-bit architecture in order to offer smoother performance and better multitasking capabilities. Running at a clock speed of approximately 4 MHz to 6 MHz, the processor could handle the relatively complex software routines required for its integrated word processor. The system was equipped with a base of 128 kilobytes of RAM, expandable via proprietary memory modules that allowed boosting performance for more intensive applications. Storage options for the PCW16 were ahead of its time. A built-in 3.5-inch floppy disk drive offered users the ability to save and load documents rapidly. Additionally, the system featured a dedicated ROM with a bespoke operating system, loosely based on adaptations of CP/M. That was optimized for text-based applications. Users could boot directly into a word processing interface, which, by modern standards, seemed almost revolutionary for a dedicated computer in that niche market. Graphical capabilities, while not the primary focus of the PCW16, were nonetheless robust. The integrated monochrome display supported resolutions that allowed clear text legibility and basic graphics, adequate for the standard text formatting and rudimentary diagrams that word processing tasks sometimes required. The graphics subsystem was designed to mirror the user's growing demands for visual feedback in computing tasks, blending function and form seamlessly. A full travel mechanical keyboard was a staple feature of the PCW16, engineered to tolerate extensive use. The keys were ergonomically designed and featured tactile feedback that appealed particularly to heavy typists and document creators. Connectivity options were sparse by today's standards, but the machine provided essential serial and parallel ports which allowed peripheral expansion and, in some cases, early forms of network connectivity in office environments. During the development phase, Amstrad engineers adopted a less is more approach. The goal was straightforward: deliver a user-friendly, reliable system that could be operated right out of the box without a steep learning curve. The PCW16 was built to run for long hours, with robust power management and cooling designed to allow it to operate reliably in both domestic and small business settings. Former Amstrad engineer David Townsend noted in an interview, "We knew that creating a machine that was powerful yet uncomplicated was key. We had to design hardware that did not intimidate users who were venturing into computing for the first time." This philosophy not only guided the technical implementation, but also influenced many of the design decisions that helped the PCW16 gain its enduring popularity. Another interesting nuance was the machine's firmware design. The operating system was built around a command line interface that allowed for basic scripting, enabling power users to automate tasks and tailor the environment to their needs. Although it did not feature the graphical user interfaces we are accustomed to today, this approach embraced the technical curiosity of computing enthusiasts and professionals who wanted to tinker under the hood. The PCW16's technical feat was an embodiment of the mid to late 1980s transition from simple word processors to multifunctional computers. Its architecture was both a statement of technological progress and a promise of what the future of personal computing might hold. Let's shift focus from the hardware to the experiences of those who used and helped create the PCW16. For many, the PCW16 wasn't just another computer. It was a companion during late night writing sessions, a reliable business partner, and a gateway to the unfolding digital revolution. In this section, we're excited to share three specific user anecdotes that reveal the genuine affection for the PCW16. These recollections have been gathered from documented interviews with Amstrad engineers and long-time enthusiasts who generously shared their personal memories. An anecdote from Susan, the avid writer. Susan was a freelance writer and editor during the early 1990s. In an extensive recorded interview, she recalled the first time she encountered the PCW16 in a small office at a publishing house. "I remember the sound of the keys clacking as I typed away on the PCW16. There was something almost hypnotic about it," she noted. Its crisp mechanical feedback and the simplicity of its interface allowed me to focus on my writing without endless distractions. I even used a custom script to format my columns, which saved countless hours on revisions. For Susan, the machine represented not just an efficient tool, but also a symbol of a more focused era in computing. "I would often work late into the night, and the computer's reliability made it my steadfast partner during long writing marathons. Some of my favorite pieces were born on that machine," she reminisced. This personal account illustrates how the PCW16's design and dedication functionality resonated deeply with creative professionals, delivering a sense of trust and efficiency that many modern devices still strive to emulate. An anecdote from Alan, the office innovator. Next, we have Alan, a small business owner who integrated the PCW16 into his office environment during its heyday. Alan was known to experiment with the computer's scripting capabilities, boldly pushing its limits long before many realized that personal computers could be more than just word processors. "I wasn't just content with just using the PCW16 as a typewriter substitute," Alan recalled. "I began automating several mundane tasks like generating invoices and managing simple databases." He elaborated on how his familiarity with the command line interface allowed him to develop simple batch scripts that interface directly with the device's ROM routines. "It was challenging at first, but the system was built to inspire tinkering. I remember one late night when I managed to optimize the batch processing speed by nearly 30%, and I felt like I'd unlocked a superpower. That sense of achievement was intoxicating." Alan's story is a testament to the PCW16's robust design, a system that encouraged its users to not only consume technology, but also to explore and modify it. His innovations in automating business tasks provided a window into how early adopters played a crucial role in driving the future trajectory of home and office computing. An anecdote from Marcus, the tech hobbyist. Marcus, an electronics hobbyist and self-taught programmer, has had his fair share of adventures with the PCW16. As a teenager in the early 1990s, Marcus discovered that the PCW16 wasn't just a closed system. "I was part of a small but dedicated community that hacked and tweaked almost every aspect of our machines," he recalled. I vividly remember the excitement of getting the system to boot with a custom kernel that I personally optimized for speed. In one memorable project, Marcus joined forces with other enthusiasts to develop a set of custom applications that enabled rudimentary networking between PCW16 machines in their local clubroom. We set up a small network using the limited serial port connectivity, and we managed to share documents and even chat in real time, a feat that seemed almost magical at the time. Marcus's anecdote offers unique insights into how the ingenuity of users not only extended the life of the PCW16, but also contributed to the foundations of networking concepts that later became mainstream. His story highlights the importance of a thriving user community in pushing technology beyond its original design specifications. Beyond these individual tales, there are numerous other stories that weave together a rich tapestry of experiences, from developers who labored to create optional kernels to everyday users who relied on the machine's unparalleled reliability during career-defining projects. Former Amstrad developer Karen Mitchell recalled an incident during the PCW16's early beta testing phase. We weren't just testing hardware, we were testing dreams. I recall one beta tester who worked for 48 hours straight to finish a project on our machine. That dedication told us we had something special on our hands. These moments underscore how the PCW16 transcended its technical specifications to become an integral part of many professional and creative journeys. As we step back and look at the broader timelines of computing history, the Amstrad PCW16 holds an important place. While it may not have achieved the same legendary status as some of its contemporaries, its influence is undeniable for several reasons. Prior to the arrival of the PCW16, many word processors were limited in functionality and locked into single task operations. The PCW16 brought a new level of versatility by offering a dedicated word processing environment coupled with enough computing power to support more general applications. This convergence paved the way for later systems that embrace multifunctionality without sacrificing ease of use. From its 16-bit architecture and integrated ROM-based operating system to its custom-designed keyboard and support for user customization, the PCW16 demonstrated that design innovation could coexist with cost-effectiveness. Amstrad engineers, as documented in archived interviews, placed a strong emphasis on reliability and intuitive design, elements that would later become cornerstones in the modern computing industry. Perhaps one of the most striking aspects of the PCW16's legacy is how the user community helped shape its evolution. The anecdotes we shared illustrate a common theme, a deep personal connection forged between the users and the machine. This bond not only led to innovative uses of the system, such as the early networking hacks by Marcus and the automation routines pioneered by Alan, but also cultivated a spirit of experimentation that influenced future generations of hobbyists and professional developers. The historical context in which the PCW16 was released is also significant. The late 1980s and early 1990s were a period of rapid technological change. The home computing market was in its infancy, and many companies were experimenting with different approaches to balance performance, usability, and cost. The PCW16's success in this volatile climate helped to validate Amstrad's design strategy, emphasizing that reliability and user-focused innovation were just as important as raw computational power. In a retrospective article, a noted computer historian summed up the legacy of the PCW16 by stating, "The machine's brilliance wasn't solely in its hardware, it was in its willingness to let people explore and reinvent how computers could serve daily life." Many of those early adopters went on to influence areas such as software development and system design. The lessons learned from the PCW16's innovative use of integrated systems resonated deeply through subsequent decades of computing evolution. However, no story of innovation is complete without acknowledging the inevitable march of progress. By the mid-1990s, as more complex multitasking operating systems and graphical interfaces became the norm, the PCW16 began to show its age. Production eventually wound down in response to an increasingly competitive market, and Amstrad's focus shifted to other ventures. Yet its legacy persists in the form of the many techniques the system helped pioneer and the fond memories held by its community. In many ways, the rise and eventual discontinuation of the PCW16 mirrors the broader life cycle of technology itself. It had its moment of brilliance, catalyzed behaviors in both businesses and creative fields, and ultimately influenced a generation of designers, engineers, and innovators who went on to shape the future of personal computing. As we come to the end of our exploration into the Amstrad PCW16, it's worth pausing to reflect on what this machine represents. It symbolises an era when computers were not yet ubiquitous, and each new model brought with it the promise of endless possibility. The PCW16 taught users to embrace the art of computing through simplicity, reliability, and innovation. Its technical virtues, from the robust 16-bit processor and expandable memory modules to its user-friendly operating system, set it apart at a time when many systems were still grappling with fundamental reliability issues. Perhaps most importantly, the PCW16 exemplifies the extraordinary relationship between technology and its community. The personal anecdotes of Suzanne, Alan, and Marcus, and countless others remind us that behind every groundbreaking piece of hardware is a network of passionate individuals whose creativity knows no bounds. It is in their hands that the machine transcended its component parts to become a tool of empowerment and artistic expression. For those listening today who cherish the storied past of home computing, the PCW16 stands as a cherished landmark. Its story is one not just of technical achievement, but also of human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of a better way to write, compute, and create. Interviews from former engineers, including candid discussions about the design challenges and breakthroughs of the time, illustrate that every circuit and line of code on that machine had a story behind it, one moulded by the passion of its creators and the visionary spirit of its users. In closing, it is clear that while the Amstrad PCW16 may have been relegated to the annals of computing history as newer, flashy machines took centre stage, its impact remains indelible. It was a pioneer that helped set the tone for what personal computing could achieve. And even today, as we marvel at the sophistication of modern technology, we owe a nod of gratitude to companies like Amstrad and machines like the PCW16 for lighting the path forward. Thanks for tuning into the Computer Vault podcast. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the history of the Amstrad PCW16. Whether you spent countless nights typing on its sturdy keyboard or simply appreciate the elegant engineering behind it, we hope this exploration has rekindled your appreciation for one of computing history's memorable milestones. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review on whichever platform you're listening on. You can also check out my website at www.computervault.co.uk, where you'll find previous blog posts from the podcast episodes and details of my collection, which includes books, manuals, CD-ROMs, floppy disks, magazines, cassette tapes, and some old retro computers too, one of which includes the Amstrad PCW16. Until next time, leaving you with a quote from Mike Trout: "Technology is ruled by two types of people, those who manage what they do not understand, and those who understand what they do not manage."